NASA held a briefing on 3I Atlas after weeks of silence. Everyone was waiting for new data and images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Instead, we got fuzzy images and statements that avoided every major question. Harvard professor Avi Loeb called it an hour before it happened, and he was right. Here's what actually went down. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologists, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates.
An hour before the event, I was asked by a reporter, what do I expect? And I said, I don't expect big news. NASA will repeat the official mantra that 3I Atlas is a natural comet and that they were unable to process the data until now because of the government shutdown. I expect the high-rise image to show a fuzzy ball of light like the Hubble image did, but I hope to be surprised. And I must say that I was not surprised.
NASA employee Amit opened by addressing what he called rumors, and I guess he was hinting at Avi Loeb. He stated this object is a comet, looks and behaves like a comet, and all evidence pointed to being a comet. And then Administrator Nikki Fox emphasized how excited she was that people were speculating during the shutdown with NASA, being on the journey with them. How sweet. Then, after killing time on sharing the background of 3I Atlas, sharing really no new information, they finally showed the images. Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter captured it from 19 million miles away. Hubble had seen it in July. The James Webb Space Telescope detected carbon dioxide and water ice. Psyche, Lucy, Marvin, and Parker Solar Probe all contributed data as well. It sounded super impressive until the images were shown. Dr. Loeb summarized what NASA actually delivered.
There were a number of images obtained by various missions, NASA missions, and the collection of images presented, as well as some spectroscopic data, include fuzzy images that do not add much insight to the properties of 3I Atlas.
The problem wasn't that NASA showed images. The problem was that the scientific community already had this information, and the NASA panel was talking to their audience like we were in a 5th grade science class. The Hubble data from July showing the nucleus was already published. The James Webb spectroscopy showing carbon dioxide was already known. Even worse, some of NASA's images had quality issues that they openly admitted. The high-rise image from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter showed only a fuzzy ball of light. And if you look at it, the quality is just as bad from the image from July, if not worse. How does that make any sense? Meanwhile, amateur astronomers were capturing detailed images showing 7 distinct jets, ionic tails, anti-tails, and dust particle structures. NASA did not feature these amateur observations, even though they contained more detail than most of what the space agency presented. Now, Loeb has documented 12 specific anomalies about 3I Atlas, and NASA addressed none of them. The first concerns mass. Based on NASA's own size estimates, a velocity of a couple of thousand feet to couple of miles in diameter, which is already very vague, this creates a statistical problem that NASA did not discuss. If objects this large exist in interstellar space and can reach our solar system, why have we not seen a million smaller Oumuamua-sized objects first? The probability seems kind of backwards. Take a listen to what he said on Fox News.
The mass being orders of magnitude larger than the previous 2 interstellar objects. Based on the size estimate we have, the diameter is so much larger that the mass is 1 million times more than the first interstellar object, Oumuamua, and 1,000 times more than the second, 2I Borisov. And given the limited reservoir of material in interstellar space, why have we not seen 1 million Oumuamuas or 1,000 Borisovs before seeing 3I Atlas? That's an important question that they don't even mention.
There's more to this, so stay with me. The second major anomaly involves the path 3I Atlas is taking. It's traveling in a remarkable alignment with the plane where our planets orbit. NASA acknowledged this made it easy for their missions to observe. What they didn't discuss is how statistically unusual that alignment is for an object supposedly entering randomly from interstellar space. When the question from the media and public were finally being addressed, many of them were very softball questions, but there was one addressing the jets. Amateur observations show multiple tightly focused jets emitting from the object, one extending 1,000,000 kilometers from the nucleus. About 7 were visible in some images. And what makes them unusual is that they remain focused despite the object rotating every 16 hours. In standard comet models, according to Avi Loeb, rotation should make jets appear wiggly or smeared as active regions spin and point in different directions. These jets stay culminated like beams. NASA mentioned seeing jets and activity around perihelion when the object passed closely to the Sun. They categorized this as a typical comet behavior, but they did not explain the tight culmination. Loeb broke down why the jet behavior raises questions.
But the understanding of the antitail towards the Sun, the fact that the jet, there was one amateur astronomer that noticed, imaged it, and you could see it going 1,000,000 kilometers away from the object. And so there are these jets, and there were 7 of them in one of the images. And what is strange about the jets is that they are tightly collimated, and the object is supposed to rotate every 16 hours. So then the question is, why isn't that rotation smearing the jets? You would expect the jet to be sort of wiggly, where it points in different directions at different times because of the rotation of the object. We don't see that. Again, a puzzle needs to be explained. I'm not saying that necessarily demonstrate that we're dealing with thrusters that are technological or anything like that. I'm just saying there are aspects of this object that are puzzling.
In another interview with News Nation, Loeb listed what NASA should have addressed but didn't. Take a listen.
The NASA officials did not address the basic puzzles about this object. The mass of the object is 1,000 times more than the previous one, 1,000,000 times more than the first one. Why are we so lucky to receive such a huge package? Why is it flying in the plane of the planets? Why is there much more nickel than iron in what it sheds? There are lots of puzzles that were not even mentioned. And, as Sherlock Holmes noted, there is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. They basically say that it's a familiar comet, but are not willing to address those anomalies. They didn't mention any of them, and there are no solutions as of yet.
But not every scientist thinks that the anomalies matter. Kevin Gailey from the University of Iowa explained that interstellar comets should look different from solar system comets. They have been bombarded by cosmic rays for billions of years, which change their outer layers. The reddish color and the high carbon dioxide composition makes sense for an object that has been traveling through the galaxy for a very long time. Ken emphasized the science works by checking natural explanations first before considering unlikely scenarios. But he also said all questions should be asked and all possibilities should be explored. The criticism of NASA is not that they concluded it's a comet. The criticism is how they presented that conclusion while avoiding discussions of the documented puzzles. Loeb said by December 19th, there should be a substantial amount of data that will help determine whether everything about the Eye Atlas can be explained by natural processes or whether there are aspects that current models cannot account for. Love him or hate him, Loeb said something that is worth highlighting.
Do you think NASA is open-minded, or do you think NASA's just decided it's a comet and we're going with that?
Well, bureaucrats or unimaginative scientists want us to believe in the expected. But the rest of us know that the best is yet to come. Life is worth living if we allow for the unexpected to surprise us. And, science is a learning experience. All I'm suggesting is let's collect more data to figure it out for sure.
This briefing revealed how science agencies handle uncertainty. NASA chose to present a definitive conclusion. This is a comet. It behaves like a comet. All evidence points it to being a comet. But when scientists immediately pointed out the briefing avoided documented anomalies, it created skepticism instead of confidence. And now, with everything being online, it seems that the public has less faith in NASA compared to during the space race during the late 1950s. If anything, people are pleased that their $20 billion budget being paid through taxes taxes is being slashed by 24% in 2026. Here's the question that I have for you. When agencies present a conclusion, when avoiding the question scientists are actually asking, does that make you trust them more or less? And what would it actually take to prove something isn't natural? Drop your thoughts in the comments. On a positive note, at least NASA broke its silence on 3I Atlas, even if they were reluctant to do so. Regardless, more data is coming. Whether we get transparent analysis of that data or not is the real question. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.